Let me tell you about the day I got married for the second time. The day my own son broke my heart, and a quiet man with gentle hands put it back together in a way I never saw coming. My name is Eleanor. I'm 62. For 30 years, I was married to Robert, a loud, brilliant heart surgeon who could command a room and an operating theater with the same booming voice. He died suddenly 3 years ago. The silence he left behind was deafening, not the good kind of silence, the empty, echoing kind that makes you feel like a ghost in your own home. Then I met Arthur. He moved into the little cottage next door 18 months ago. Our first meeting was over a fallen branch from my old oak tree that landed in his garden. He was out there in a simple sweater, carefully cutting it up with a handsaw, not making a fuss. I rushed over, apologizing. "Please, let me call someone. I'll pay for the damage." He looked up and he had the kindest eyes I'd ever seen, deep-set, blue, and calm, like a quiet lake. "No damage done," he said, his voice soft. "It's just wood, and it's given me a chance to say hello. I'm Arthur." That was it. No drama, no showing off. He helped me carry the firewood back to my porch. Our friendship grew over cups of tea, tending to our respective gardens, and long walks. He was a widower, too. He spoke of his late wife, Mary, with a tender sadness that mirrored my own. He listened. He really listened. When I talked about Robert, the good and the bad, he didn't try to fix it or compete. He just nodded. He was nothing like Robert. Where Robert was a raging fire, Arthur was the steady, warm glow of embers. Where Robert needed an audience, Arthur was content with a companion. My son, Mark, and his wife, Chloe, only saw the surface. They saw a man 10 years my senior, with simple clothes, a modest car, and a life that seemed small. They never saw the peace he brought me. They only saw an old man. When I told Mark I was marrying Arthur, the phone line went so cold I could feel the frost through the receiver. "Mom, you cannot be serious. You're financially secure. You're vibrant. Why would you attach yourself to that?" "To Arthur," I corrected, my voice tight. "He's a nobody, Mom. A retired what exactly? What did he even do? He's clearly after your house, your stability. Everyone can see it." The words cut. Chloe was worse. During a strained dinner, she patted my hand with her perfectly manicured one. "Eleanor, we just worry. He's so quiet, and at his age, it just seems desperate for both of you." I stopped sharing details after that. We planned a simple wedding in the garden of the local community hall. I wanted daisies and sunflowers, a simple cake, and just a few close friends. Mark and Chloe insisted on making it proper. They took over. They booked a respectable venue, the Grand View Hotel's conservatory. They chose a 3-tiered fondant cake that looked like a museum piece. They sent out embossed invitations. I felt like a guest at my own event, but I let it go, hoping that on the day they'd see my happiness and understand. They did not. The wedding day was bright. I wore a simple cream dress. Arthur looked handsome and a little nervous in a well-worn but sharp navy suit. My small circle of friends smiled warmly, but Mark and Chloe formed the cold center of the room. Mark, in a designer suit that cost more than Arthur's car, watched Arthur with the scrutiny of a prosecutor. Chloe, in a pale pink sheath dress that screamed, "Look at me," kept up a running sotto voce commentary to her circle of friends, my new niece-in-law, and a few of their sleek, judgmental buddies. The ceremony was about to start. The minister, a lovely local man named Reverend Peters, was chatting with Arthur near the front. I was hiding for a moment behind a large fern, fixing my bouquet, when I heard it. Their voices, clear as crystal, carried from the road just behind the fern. "I mean, look at him." Chloe's whisper was like acid. "He looks like he buys his suits from a charity shop. What does she even see? A warm body?" Mark's low grumble followed. "She's lonely. He's a gold digger, plain and simple. Probably has nothing to his name, waiting to get his hands on Dad's money. It's pathetic." My blood turned to ice. I felt dizzy. The words "gold-digging old man" bounced around my skull. I wanted to sink into the floor. I peeked through the leaves. I saw Arthur, his head slightly bowed, listening to Reverend Peters. Did he hear? His posture was the same, calm, still, but I thought I saw the faintest tightening of his jaw. The music started. I walked down the aisle, a smile plastered on my face, my eyes finding Arthur's. In them I saw only warmth and love. It was my anchor. We said our vows. His hands held mine, and they were steady. His voice, though soft, didn't waver. I promise to cherish you, to be your peace, and to love you with all the quiet strength I have, he said. They were his own words, not from any book. They made me cry. Then came the moment. Reverend Peters pronounced us husband and wife. We kissed. It was sweet and gentle. As we turned to face the small crowd, Reverend Peters did something odd. He leaned close to Arthur, not for the usual congratulatory handshake, but with a look of deep, almost reverent awe on his face. He didn't just speak, he whispered, but in the quiet that follows a kiss, we all heard it. "Mr. A," Reverend Peters said, his voice thick with emotion, "it is the profound honor of my life to have done this. Would it be too much to ask for your autograph for my son? He'd never believe it." The air left the room. Mark's smug smile froze. Chloe's perfectly penciled eyebrows shot up. My own brain stuttered. Autograph? Arthur's reaction was the quietest of all. He gave a small, almost imperceptible sigh, as if a secret he'd been keeping had finally, gently slipped out. He looked at the Reverend with a kind of patient understanding, then nodded. "Of course, Michael, but later, yes? This is Eleanor's day." Reverend Peters looked like he'd been given a gift from heaven. "Of course, yes, sorry." He beamed at me. "You have married a truly remarkable man, Eleanor." The ceremony ended. The crowd erupted into confused chatter. My friends were puzzled. Mark and Chloe descended on me like hawks as Arthur was led away by a beaming Reverend Peters, presumably to sign a Bible or a program. "Mom, what on earth was that about?" Mark hissed. "An autograph? Is he some kind of retired Z-list celebrity? A washed-up baseball player?" "Maybe he was a chaplain in the war," offered Chloe, her nose wrinkled as if trying to solve a distasteful puzzle, "though he doesn't look the type." "I don't know," I said truthfully, my head spinning. I looked over at Arthur. He was talking calmly with the Reverend, who was nodding vigorously. Who was this man I'd just married? The reception began. The tension was a live wire. Mark and Chloe held court at their table, their laughter too loud, their jokes pointed. "Better keep an eye on the gift card box, Mom," said Mark during his toast, a nasty edge beneath the false cheer. His friends tittered. Arthur just sipped his water, a small, unreadable smile on his lips. It was during the cake cutting that the second shoe dropped. A distinguished-looking man in an impeccably tailored but understated suit entered the conservatory. He scanned the room, his eyes landing on Arthur. He moved with the authority of someone used to command, but his face broke into a wide, genuine smile. He walked straight past Mark, past me, and up to Arthur. "Arthur, I heard through the grapevine. I had to come. Couldn't let you do this without seeing you." Arthur shook his hand, a real smile finally reaching his eyes. "James, you shouldn't have." "Nonsense." The man James turned to me and took my hand. "You must be Eleanor. Arthur's letters have spoken of no one else for the past year. I've never seen him so alive. You are a miracle worker." He kissed my cheek. "I'm James Thorne." The name meant nothing to me, but I saw Mark from across the room go pale as milk. His mouth dropped open. Chloe leaned in, whispering frantically. Mark just stared, his eyes wide with a kind of terrified recognition. James chatted with us for a few minutes, then excused himself. I won't intrude, just wanted to give you both my blessing." He handed Arthur a small, elegant envelope, a small token for your new life together. He nodded at the room, his gaze passing over Mark's stunned face with no sign of recognition, and left as quietly as he came. Mark practically sprinted over. Mom, that was James Thorne, the James Thorne, CEO of Thorne Global. How does he know Arthur?" I looked at my new husband. "Arthur? Who is James Thorne?" Arthur looked almost apologetic. "An old friend from my working days." "Working days? Thorne Global is $1 billion private equity firm. He's a legend. He only associates with giants. What did you do?" Arthur looked at Mark for a long moment. The kindness was still in his eyes, but it was now layered with something else, a deep, unshakable strength. "I taught him everything he knows," he said simply. "I was his mentor for 35 years. I ran the company before I handed it to him." The world tilted. The quiet gardener, the man. The rest of the reception was a beautiful, silent revenge. Mark and Chloe were utterly deflated. Their sneers were gone, replaced by a desperate, fawning energy that was even worse. They tried to hover, to laugh at nothing, to suddenly become Arthur's biggest fans. He treated them with the same polite, distant kindness he showed everyone. He didn't humiliate them. He didn't need to. The truth had done all the work. Later, in our cottage, I opened the envelope from James Thorne. It wasn't a check. It was a deed to a beautiful, secluded cottage on a lake in Maine. A note read, "A place for your peace. With love, James." I looked at Arthur, this enigma I'd married. "You built a global company." "I did," he said, taking my hand. "You're worth—" "It's just money, Ellie," he said, calling me by the name only he used. "It never bought a moment of the peace I have with you. It never grew a single flower in my garden. It never held my hand during a walk." He cupped my face. "They called me a gold digger. The irony is, I'm the one who feels like I've struck gold. I have you." The final twist wasn't about his wealth. It was about his heart. A month after the wedding, Mark and Chloe came over, shamefaced. They were in trouble. Mark's flashy business ventures had collapsed. They were drowning in debt, about to lose their show home. They came to apologize, but their eyes were on a bailout. Before I could say a word, Arthur spoke. "I will help you," he said. They lit up with greedy relief. "But not with money," he finished. Their faces fell. He laid out a plan. He would use his connections to get Mark a job, a good, honest, mid-level job at one of his old company's suppliers. He would set up a meeting with a financial counselor to help them restructure their debt. "You will work your way out," Arthur said, his voice firm but not unkind. "You will learn the value of things that aren't on a price tag. That is my gift to you, the gift your father would have wanted to give you, a chance to stand on your own." It was the hardest, most generous thing anyone could have done. It wasn't a check that would have made them respect him. It was a lesson that might, one day, make them respect themselves. So they called my new husband a gold-digging old man, and he turned out to be the man who could have bought our town but chose to buy me sunflowers instead. The man who had the power to crush my son with his wealth but chose to try and build him up with humility. The minister asked for his autograph because he was a legend in the business world, but I get his autograph every day. It's in the way he tends to my rose bushes. It's in the quiet cup of tea he brings me every morning. It's in the steady, unwavering love he writes on my heart every single day. And that's the only signature that ever really mattered to me.